Just vibing here. You make our wedding look miserable.
Said the bride to me, a high school grad invited to the wedding of a friend who had made it big. It was my first time attending such a fancy and formal event, and I was a bit nervous. Told me, the bride spewed insults.
Low-educated trash should cut ties with my husband, okay?
What? Really? It was you who said we should cut ties. Whatever happens, it's not my concern. She, who can only superficially judge people by their education or titles, had no idea who I really was, a high school grad. My name is John Roberts. Just an unremarkable pianist. I love meeting new people and traveling around the world. On the side, I play my piano at jazz bars and restaurants around town. Sometimes, I would play the public piano on street. By doing so, I earn some change and live day by day. I'm hesitant to say this myself, but I was raised in a relatively affluent family. The piano, which has now become my livelihood, was something I was forced to learn from the age of 3 growing up in the affluent household. In competitions I joined alongside adults, I frequently won awards and was called a prodigy or a wunderkind. That now feels quite embarrassing. However, that lifestyle collapsed when I was in elementary school. My father's business failed, and we ended up living in a small apartment in the countryside. Because it was a townhouse, playing the piano at home was not allowed, both emotionally and by rules. Yet, I couldn't give up and would go to the school's music room after class to practice diligently. One day, after I finished playing a piece, I suddenly heard applause. Looking towards the sound, there was a boy standing alone, his face looking like he was about to cry, moved by the music.
Well, that was Chopin's Puppy Waltz, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Amazing, amazing. What else can you play?
Well, like this.
When I played Schumann's Traumerei, his eyes lit up even more.
Really amazing. How long have you been playing piano?
Since I was 3. At first, I was forced to, but then I started to like it.
Do you play at home too?
No, I live in an apartment, so I can't play there. That's why I'm here every day.
Hearing that, he went like, whoa. He apparently was impressed by my emotion toward playing the piano.
I'm Tom Brown. Can I come listen again tomorrow?
Of course. I'm John Roberts. I play almost every day, so come by if you have time.
I shook hands with Tom firmly. From that day on, my solo performances had an audience. Over time, we grew closer. His father worked in the treasury, and he was the son of a wealthy family.
Do you play any instruments, Tom?
Well, a bit of violin.
That's cool. Violin seems tough.
Yeah, it's hard. That's why I'm not really good at it. My mom keeps getting mad at me for not being able to play.
Tom looked a bit sad as he said this.
But
saying it, his expression instantly changed. He lit up like a completely different person.
It was your piano that moved me.
He leaned in close, saying with great fervor, I was truly happy that my piano could move him, but I never expected it to this extent.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah.
Let's play together next time. My piano and your violin.
When I suggested a session, his face darkened a bit.
I'll consider it when my violin is up to par with your piano.
I see. Then, let's practice together for the next 3 years of middle school.
Yeah?
Tom hesitated a bit in his response. At that time, I didn't think much of it, but just a few days later, I learned what he meant directly from him.
What? You're taking exams for a middle school far away.
Yeah. So, it looks like we won't be able to practice together. Sorry?
I see. But you have your dreams, Tom, so it can't be helped.
Dreams? Huh. Actually, my dream has. Never mind.
Tom started to say something, but then stopped himself. Respecting his feelings, I didn't ask any further. Instead, I extended my pinky finger.
Promise, no matter how late, let's play together for sure.
Yay!
Tom also extended his pinky finger. We made a pinky promise and solemnly swore on our future session.
I'll write you letters, Tom.
I can't speak for Tom, but being broke, I don't have a cell phone or anything, and I can't afford to waste money on a home phone. That's why I decided to use letters, a relatively inexpensive way to communicate.
Yeah, I'll be waiting.
As best friends took different paths, I went on to a local public middle school. I didn't join any clubs and spent my afternoons playing the piano in the music room. I was determined not to be left behind by Tom. He would surely return leveled up. My ambition to improve my performance was blazing, but contrary to my inner turmoil and the external temperature, an event that occurred in the summer in my 9th grade was utterly cold.
Dad,
While my mom and I watched, my dad was being examined in a hospital bed. We had rushed over after getting a call from his workplace that he had collapsed during work. He barely responded to our calls, extremely weak. It was hard to tell if he had any strength at all.
He'll need to be hospitalized for a while to observe.
The doctor said, and our anxiety only grew. Trying to distract myself from those feelings, I threw myself even more into playing the piano. Desperately, I continued to strike the piano keys, mastering Mussorgsky's Night on Bald Mountain. I was practicing. The inner anxiety and the horror vibe of the piece matched, and I was oddly drawn to it. Especially that day, I was so engrossed that I completely forgot I was in the school's music room. I didn't even notice that an audience had come to my solo concert.
Amazing. John, you're really good at piano.
There were several girls from my class. The sound of their clapping echoed in the music room. Having thought I was alone, I had exaggeratedly moved to the rhythm and made odd movements. Embarrassed, I replied with a curt thanks. I felt like I was trying too hard, and my embarrassment grew. I'm worried that it might show on my face.
Do you always play here?
yeah, almost every day.
Normally, keeping to myself in the class and living quietly. These after-school performances were my only solace.
Wow, that's great. Can I come listen again tomorrow?
Hearing that reminded me of the first time I met Tom. Looking back, our meeting was also thanks to the piano. The black and white keys had brought such a person into my life.
Of course,
Feeling incredibly happy, I answered while almost crying. But then, what's this? Is the poor kid getting cocky? My archenemy appeared. Amy Anderson, a classmate, ridiculed me for being pool. Her entourage of 3 joined in, making a racket almost every day.
Why is someone like you, even at this school, having a fallen poo person around really brings down the mood, doesn't it?
Amy laughed barbarically. The girls, who had been enjoying my piano, were now completely intimidated.
Who's really bringing down the mood here?
I thought so, but unfortunately, I didn't have the courage to say it out loud.
Sorry.
I muttered, overwhelmed by their words, and left the music room. I wiped away my tears with the sleeve of my shirt and ran home, as if fleeing from the scene. Despite that, I continued to play the piano every day. Even as Amy and her friends dampened my spirit, I couldn't give up. With that single-minded determination, no matter how much they interfered or insulted me, I kept hitting the piano keys. However, I was aware that my piano playing had changed. Huff, huff. Breathless from playing so intensely. Sweat soaked through my body.
You were amazing today, too.
Yay, thanks.
Though the audience praised me, I couldn't take their words to heart. At some point, the reason I played the piano was no longer because I love it. It had become a means to release the distortion in my heart, compressed by a terrifying presence. In essence, it had degraded into an escape from reality. I knew this wasn't right, but this was the only way I knew to clear my dreadful feelings.
Here he goes again. Can't you read the room at all?
As my mood plummeted, Amy's taunts only got worse. Days like these continued, and I eventually stopped going to school. I wanted to play the piano. To play, I had to go to school. But going to school meant facing insults. Caught in this nightmarish triangle, a further despair struck me.
Oh, my dear.
My father, now cold and covered with a cloth. My mother was crying, clinging to his right arm.
Dad.
Strangely, I didn't cry. Instead, I felt an odd sense of frustration. The last time my father heard me play was when I was very young. I never had the chance to show him how much I'd improved because I just kept playing at school and didn't participate in any competitions. I had gotten so much better. I was on a different level than before. Despite all the words I had lined up, I never got the chance to let him hear. That was unbearably frustrating. After my father passed away, my mother and I moved in with her parents. Right after graduating high school, we left for Japan. My mother's father, that is, my grandfather, was half Japanese and lived there. My mother, a quarter American, is named Ellie Roberts.
Hey, welcome back, John.
Hi, thank you for your warm welcome, Grandpa.
One night, when I got home, I ran into Grandpa in the living room. He was watching TV while petting the dog.
Were you at that jazz bar again today?
Yeah.
Since coming to Japan, I hadn't attended any educational institutions. I'd been touring nearby bars, showcasing my piano playing. I lived off the tips I received, managing to get by without depending too much on my grandparents. Time passed, and the self-proclaimed pianist, John Roberts, reached his 30s, now back from Japan and settled in the US. Somehow missing my hometown, I rented a room in the same apartment I used to live in and started living alone. Even though I was settled, I traveled the world whenever I had the chance. I meet different people wherever I go, share values, and update myself. It's really cool to feel like I'm evolving each time. It's quite fascinating. Though confident in my performance, seeing the world made me realize I still had much to learn. When I played piano on the street in Germany, a lanky man casually began to play Schubert's Rocking, leaving me speechless. In a French tavern, while playing Ravel's Judo, a girl who looked to be in her teens proposed a piano duet. It's going to be a good experience for me, who had always played solo. I thought that way and agreed, and I was amazed by how incredible the girl was. Far from just matching my pace, she actually led. Our first duet was a resounding success, electrifying the audience. Continuously honed by the world, I leveled up as a pianist. Despite the challenges, I cherished the freedom to elevate myself. This time, I went to Austria. After finishing my trip, I returned home, lugging my heavy bags back to my apartment from the airport. Well, there's a pile here. Checking the mailbox, I found it stuffed with letters and various mail. I had told the landlord I was going on an international trip, so there was no need for worry. There was a time I forgot to inform and went abroad. The accumulation of mail had led neighbors to worry something had happened, resulting in a police report and a scolding from the landlord upon my return. Now, what news do I have this time? After bringing my luggage inside, I went through the mail. Most were utility bills or flyers from nearby supermarkets. Well, what's this? One envelope stood out, extravagant and ornate. Wedding invitation. Someone's getting married. Turning it over, I saw the sender's name in Japanese letters. Tom Brown and Amy. So, Tom's getting married. Seeing my old friend's name after so long excited me. We had talked about writing letters, but I hadn't sent any since that summer in 9th grade. It's been over 10 years, but it seems he hasn't forgotten me. I pulled out the invitation hour of the envelope. It was folded in half with a section for RSVP. Of course, I'll attend. I grabbed a pen to mark "will attend" and added with pleasure above it and crossed out decline. Then I filled in my address, name, and a message of congratulations. 11 p.m. Guess I'll send the RSVP and call tomorrow. After closing the folded invitation, I noticed handwritten messages from Tom and his wife. Tom has had strong handwriting since elementary school, and it seems nothing has changed. Right below, there was a message written in the same distinctive slanted font. I chuckled at the two and decided to call it a night. Jet lag was a bit rough, but fatigue easily outweighed it. On the day of the wedding, arriving at the designated place, it turned out to be an extremely famous luxury hotel. It was my first time attending such a lavish and formal wedding, and I was a bit nervous.
Hey, long time no see, John.
While I was looking for my seat, a voice called out from behind. "Oh, Tom, congratulations on your wedding."
Thanks, glad you could make it.
It had been about 15 years since we last saw each other. Without resorting to complicated words, we celebrated our reunion with a firm handshake. Standing next to him was the bride, who seemed surprised to see me. "Heard you became a bank president."
Yeah, thankfully.
"That's amazing."
Thanks. What about you? You were in Japan for a while, right?
"Yeah, right after graduating from high school. Since then, I've just been doing my own thing without pursuing further studies.
I see.
As we talked about each other's lives, a voice called Tom from a distance.
Oops, sorry.
Tom looked over and gestured with his right hand as if to say, "I'll be back." And he hurried off to greet another acquaintance. However, for some reason, the bride stayed behind, still looking at me.
John Roberts, as in the John Roberts, the one who used to play the piano in the music room every day?
Oh, yay, that's me.
You're a high school grad.
The characteristic rise at the end of her sentences. The choice of words mocking me. And then, the name Amy on the invitation. I had suspected, but the bride, Amy, was that same Amy. You always bullied me in middle school. Here we are, over 10 years later, meeting again.
Just by being here, you make our wedding look miserable.
Is that so? Sorry about that. Well, you actually feel bad. Well, nothing to be done now since you're here. But from here on out. Said so, her face at that moment seemed even more malicious than I remembered.
Low-educated trash should cut ties with my husband, okay?
Though I've grown since then, I was still pretty upset at the idea of cutting ties with Tom. Unable to stay calm like before, I retorted a bit. Tom and I have been best friends since elementary school. Do you have the right to sever that bond?
Of course I do. I'm his wife.
Her logic was baffling. Just then, Tom thankfully returned. Sorry, Tom. I'm withdrawing all my money from the bank and closing that account.
Why? It's a joke, right?
While Tom was shocked, the bride was speechless. She probably confused by what I was saying. No, your wife told me that poor high school grad should cut ties with her husband.
What? Amy, what's going on?
But, I mean, because...
Flustered by Tom's questioning, she continued,
having a fallen Pua person around just ruins the atmosphere. It's bad for your job too, right?
She screamed hysterically, not caring about the onlookers.
Hey, why would you invite such a Pua person to our wedding?
Amy, that's too much. Apologize to John.
No, I'm not wrong.
Sorry, seems I've caused a disturbance at your wedding. I turned my back on them and headed towards the exit.
John, wait please. John?
Tom grabbed my arm after walking several feet. He desperately pleaded to be allowed to explain. I wasn't angry with Tom, so I decided to go back with him.
Sorry, John?
Don't apologize, Tom. It's me who should be sorry. I got too emotional. Meanwhile, the bride stood with her arms crossed, looking away.
Amy, listen to me about how John and I met.
When Tom said that, she only turned her gaze towards him.
It's a story from when we were still in elementary school.
He started to recount our story from 15 years ago, as if it happened just yesterday.
My parents were strict bureaucrats at the Treasury. There were so many restrictions on what I could or couldn't do. It left me without much in common with my classmates, making it hard to fit in.
Conversely, he was somewhat forced to play the violin. It was much like my situation with the piano, starting even before elementary school.
I hated those days so much. Coming home meant more strict supervision, more studying, and more practice playing. To escape, I'd wander aimlessly around the school after hours.
This was around when we were in the 6th grade. It was the same time when my dad's business failed and I could no longer play the piano at home. The bride eventually uncrossed her arms and listened intently to Tom's story.
It was one day, as I passed by the music room, I heard the puppy waltz coming from inside.
Tom was curious about who was playing. To him, it sounded beyond the level of any elementary student, even surpassing the music teachers.
When I entered the music room, it was an elementary student playing. I was astonished. Sure, it's a piece that's accessible for children, but it wasn't just good, it struck a chord in me. You could tell the pianist was thoroughly enjoying playing from the bottom of his heart.
The bride's eyes had turned slightly red.
That was the day I met you, John. Your playing healed my almost broken spirit.
It seemed Tom saw my playing as one of the few solaces from the pressures of his parents. That's why he kept coming to the music room every day after that.
Seeing you enjoy playing so much made me start to enjoy playing the violin. My dreaded days were completely transformed.
That's why he became positive about middle school exams and successfully passed them. Although it was a bit lonely to part ways with Tom for school, knowing my playing had been a foundation for him made me proud and happy. I had been praised for being good before, but I hadn't thought I had saved anyone. Hearing Tom's story, the bride, Amy, had tears in her eyes. The underestimated high school grad had laid the foundation for her husband's character. Whether it was regret or gratitude for her, I couldn't tell.
Amy, you said it too, right? In middle school, when you were struggling, the piano you heard soothed your heart?
Yeah?
Surprised by the story, I looked at Amy with wide eyes.
Don't look at me.
She blushed and seemed embarrassed.
Maybe it's because we shared similar experiences that we got along so well.
Traveling the world, I've witnessed various coincidences, but such a miraculous connection was quite rare. I can't believe I unwittingly played matchmaker.
John?
Tom, looking a bit guilty, questioned me. He didn't know yet. Actually, Tom,
What is it?
I was surprised too, coming to the venue. Your wife, she's my middle school classmate.
What?
Tom's surprise was understandable. Faced with this astonishing fact, the three of us could only laugh. After we finished laughing, Amy started apologizing to me head down. Her hair, probably set for the wedding, drooped towards the ground.
I'm sorry. I said terrible things without knowing anything.
Wait a minute.
Amy.
Tom looked at her admiringly, but for me, it was an emergency. It would be a disaster if the rumor spread that a guest made the bride, the main heroine, apologize at her own wedding.
It's not just that. I want to apologize for middle school too. After you stopped coming to school, I regretted it. I went to your house to apologize, but you had already moved away.
All right, just face forward for me, please. Amy turned to face me again, her makeup smidged by tears. She might need to touch up her makeup a bit sooner.
I know it sounds like an excuse, but my family was really strict.
Listening to her, it seemed her family was also very strict. That led her to take out her stress on me. Her recent outburst, too, was due to the values instilled in her by her parents, who cared only about academic background. Indeed, she graduated from a prestigious university and works at a top-tier company.
So, I'm really sorry.
Again, Amy apologized to me. Let's forget about the past. Just make Tom, my best friend, happy. After receiving apologies from both of them, I was so relieved that I momentarily forgot what I was angry about. All the poison drained away. Then, the wedding planner approached us. It was time to start. I apologized to Amy and suggested she go touch up her makeup. And Tom, leave that matter to me.
Sure, thanks.
I gave my best friend a thumbs up and took my seat. The wedding proceeded smoothly, and after the bride's outfit change, it was time for the entertainment. The relatives performed a splendid traditional country line dancing. After that, it was my turn to execute that matter. Guided to a dim backstage area, I found a piano waiting for me.
Next up for our entertainment, we have a performance by the genius pianist, Mr. John Roberts, a close friend of the groom, Tom.
After the grand introduction, the spotlight shone on me. I played Les Liebestraum. I had always thought of playing it at someone's wedding someday. I never imagined the first time would be at my best friend, Tom's wedding. The tension was different from any competition, jazz bar, or street performance. It felt like the first piece ended in a blink. After a brief pause, I placed my hands on the keys again. Simultaneously, Tom stood up. It was a plan only the planner and the two of us knew about. As everyone looked on in surprise, the groom took up a violin hidden under the table. We matched our timing through eye contact and started the second piece, Elgar's Salutdammer. As I played, memories of my travels flashed through my mind. Japan, England, Germany, France, Spain, and Austria. The list of memories was endless. The lanky man who appeared out of nowhere. The unfamiliar young girl. Even after numerous duets with many people, today's performance with Tom moved me to my core. The duet with Tom was more amazing than anything in my memory. The sound matched perfectly, accentuating each other's nuances. The joy in Tom's violin playing was palpable. As I played, I felt tears welling up. The audience, including the bride, was moved to tears. What a perfect performance. A 15-year-old oral agreement. The duet between pianist John Roberts and violinist Tom Brown had finally come to fruition here and now. As the last note and its reverberation faded, applause filled the venue. When the applause subsided, Tom took the microphone.
John and I have been best friends since elementary school. Both of us played instruments back then. However, I was not a performer who could match the genius pianist John Roberts. There was a time he asked for a duet, but I felt I wasn't up to par and had put it on hold until now.
Back then, Tom didn't enjoy playing the violin. Contrastingly, I always loved playing the piano. Perhaps he felt the gap.
I'm very happy we could accomplish this duet today.
The venue erupted into cheers and applause once more.
Actually, this was supposed to be the end of my speech. But let me introduce him, John Roberts.
Tom began to speak impromptu, not part of the plan.
He is John Roberts, my best friend. As I mentioned earlier, he is a genius pianist. He posts his performances on YouTube, and he's a big deal with over 1 million subscribers. I encourage everyone to check out his YouTube channel.
As Tom explained, my YouTube channel, thankfully, has been viewed by many. I post single performance videos, as well as performances from abroad. Additionally, I've recently started composing, receiving numerous requests. Some of my works have become global hits. It's somewhat vulgar to mention, but the account I opened at Tom's bank holds about $80 million. Yet, I'm not living a luxurious lifestyle, but I'm living comfortably on my own terms. I plan to continue traveling to various countries.
Please give him a big round of applause.
At Tom's request, all eyes and applause in the venue were directed at me. Without jumping for joy, I simply acknowledged the audience with a nod and a smile, as befits a pianist. Since the summer in my 9th grade, anonymous letters started appearing in my desk and shoe locker. The message was simple, warning me to watch out because the delinquents are after me, for extortion or worse. It was a warning to watch out for muggings and even worse acts. The letters were tip-offs from someone, written in a distinctive slanted font. Amy Anderson started visiting the music room. Around that time, I had always wondered about something. Despite bullying me daily, she never interrupted my performances. She always arrived after I finished a piece and the audience had enjoyed the afterglow. It seemed she listened to my playing before hastily sending me home. If that was the case, she was likely the author of the letters. Thinking back, the handwriting matched that on the wedding invitation. I tried contacting Amy several times to confirm, but she stubbornly pretended not to know. I figured it wouldn't be good to push too hard, so I just kept that to myself and silently appreciated it. As the wedding ended and guests began to leave, while the parents are exchanging greetings, children who had become bored came to me.
The piano was amazing.
Hey, thanks,
Play that one.
they requested, referring to the theme song of some popular anime. I played the chorus, and they were thrilled. One request led to another, from the pretended family spy anime to the sorcerer battle anime, causing quite the commotion. Eventually, things settled down, and the newlyweds came over.
John, thank you so much for today.
The pleasure was mine.
By the way, about that account closing, are you sure?
As Tom said, Amy looked at me apologetically. No way, I wouldn't do that. Got a bit emotional and said something silly. My bad,
That's a relief.
Tom said with a relieved expression. About that money,
Yeah,
I want to use those $8 million to set up a music school. Not a formal academy, but a place to give people the opportunity to engage with music. I want to ensure no one has to give up due to financial reasons. As I shared my dream, they both agreed to help me. It seemed they resonated with my view on music and willing to help with the setup and operation. A few days after the wedding, Tom contacted me.
thanks for last time. I found out today that Amy is pregnant. Maybe that's why she was emotionally unstable then. Please forgive her.
While preparing for my next trip, I replied, "Congratulations. It's deeply moving to see my best friend become a father. I'm not bothered by that incident, don't worry. More importantly, I hope you'll check out the video I'm posting today." That night, a video titled "To My Dear Friends" was uploaded to my channel. It was a medley of Liebestraum and Salutdammer, the pieces I played at the wedding. It also served as a reminder for me to keep the emotions of that day vivid. I had thought about posting our duet, but that legendary performance has become a treasure I prefer to keep in my heart. A person's essence can't be judged solely by academic credentials or superficial words. I may be a high school grad with no formal education, but I consider myself a successful individual. The same goes for Amy. If you only look at her actions towards me in middle school, she indeed seems terrible. However, whether she was the one who sent those anonymous letters or made sure I got home before falling victim to delinquents, her awkward methods showed she's genuinely kind-hearted. My ability to recognize what truly matters came from interacting with many people worldwide. Some countries I visited couldn't exactly boast about their educational systems, but that doesn't mean everyone from those places is unpleasant. The essence lies much deeper. The essence boils down to what people believe and think about.